Good morning, Stampers. Jumping on here today to share a new fun fold that I discovered recently. It's called a spanner card, and I think the reason it's a spanner card is we have this bridge here across that's like a bridge span that spans these two pieces together. So this particular card we did at Club on Saturday, and it was really kind of fun. There's a little bit of prep work, but then to put the whole thing together, it goes really, really easily. So let me kind of give you an idea of what you're going to need to get started. Now this is on my blog, which is not showing here at the bottom at the moment. This is on my blog, and the directions, the dimensions, and everything are there if that's easier for you to do. You can stop and go at your desire. But what you're basically going to need is a half a sheet of cardstock of your choice. These are really nice themed cards, so you can come up with a theme. In this case, I'm using our new Sweet as a Peach. Love it, love it. You are going to need, and I'll show you how to cut that base. The inside then is generally a trimmed quarter layer, and that's what this is here. You need 4, these are the sides. You need 4 pieces for layer, and in this case I'm using pale papaya, and these are each 1 1/8 by 4 1/8. And then you need some designer paper, and I'll show you this designer paper. It's just yummy. So you'll need 2 pieces, and in this case I've already mounted them. They're 1 by 4. This is a little tighter edge than what I like, that I usually use. These are only 16th instead of 1/8 inch, but I liked it because then you saw more of the DSP. So you need 2 pieces of one print, and this is what I chose. You need 2 pieces of a second print. And then for the center, so that's, you have these 2 side pieces, and then you open it, and there's 2 side pieces that coordinate here. And then last but not least, it opens to the inside. And so you have the center piece, and that is, I'm sorry, down here. The layer, which again is pale papaya, is 2 7/8 by 8 1/8, and the DSP is 2 3/4 by 4. You will also need a window sheet. No, I'm going to lose this. That is, or acetate, whatever you want to call it, 1 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I need to put that where I won't lose it. Okay, I'll put it here. So let's start with preparing our cardstock. So fold it in half, give it a real good crease, burnish it is what the technical term is. We'll take your trimmer. This is kind of like doing an easel card, the preparation or the first cuts. You'll open it out flat, place it in your cutter at 1 1/4, and then watch it bounce. Then you're going to cut from the cut edge to the fold, and our cutter has this little arrow that shows you right where you're going to stop. That's where the blade will stop. I like to just fold it, flip it over. You're working on the same side. Line it up again at 1 1/4. Cut it to the fold. And that's all the cutting you need. Isn't that a funny looking thing? But the way you put it together is really slick. So the next thing I do is I go ahead and put my piece in the center. And yes, I'm back to using my snail. My seal wasn't cooperating this morning or yesterday or whenever it was I was working. So this is a real tight 1/16 of an inch. If you want it differently, you can do yours any way you'd like. I had already decided that I wanted these pieces in here, And so I'm going to go ahead, and the gal who designed this, and I'm trying to remember who it was, maybe Lisa Curcio is her name. She had us putting our adhesive across instead of great big long lines going across. And boy, is that kind of neat. It's real easy to do. And you want to make sure when you put these pieces on that they're not hanging over your flap there. The white's fine. That's not a problem. Okay. Then I'm going to close it down. And I'm going to add my other little strips. Love this new pale papaya. And it works so well with one of our older colors, which is Pear Pizzazz. I'm sure many of you have it. Okay. And we line that up with just a little bit of the green showing. And last but not least is our centerpiece. It's still a little bare. I like my 5 swipe rule. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there is an up and down to this. So you want to make sure that the peaches are right side up. Okay, so your card is together. Now for the fun part, which is actually decorating it, figuring out your theme. Got my tear tape. Seal works well too. So now I'm going to take my window sheet strip. I'm going to flip it around and I'm going to open it so that the front of the card is at the top and this is here. Oops. I went got my tear tape and then grabbed my snail. Okay, so put a strip here. And you don't want it that strip is 1.25 inches, so you don't want your adhesive to go any higher than the 1.25 inches. And to save time so you don't have to watch me struggle getting this. This is pressure sensitive, so if you put some pressure on it first, either with your nail, pair of scissors, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this flap out of the way and line it down in the corner and push and over in the, and you want it straight, Becky, and push. There's our span or a bridge or whatever you want. Now I have seen this particular design's been out for a while, and the interesting thing is that some people have used an actual piece of cardstock instead of the span to get that done. Okay, so now I have all my pieces cut and they've disappeared. So here is the stamp set. It's called Sweet as a Peach, and it does have coordinating dies. I have a card that I'll show you that uses this little tag. And then there's a big branch, the little peaches, the blossoms that are in the same configuration. So they work on the branch the same way. The big peach leaves, some little teeny tiny blossoms, some little teeny tiny leaves, and a branch. Really, really nice stamp set. So we're going to be using that. Let me see if I left my pieces over on my counter. Yes, I did. The peach is a really, really fun stamp set to stamp with as well. Let me show you how you stamp the pieces before I arrange them. The two colors that I like to use, because they're what's listed in the cardstock or the designer paper, is Pale Papaya, and that's the base color. And then the additional color is Calypso Coral. I have seen and I've tried and I like the base color to be in Petal Pink. I've also seen the extra color. Now you can just, let you decide. This is a distinctive stamp. So this is straight pale papaya. And because this is a photopolymer set with no cushion, I have a cushion under me. So there's just a pale papaya. Yes, it's supposed to look like that. This time I'm going to ink it up with pale papaya. But I'm going to take my Calypso Coral and ink up a dauber and pick a side, any side. Add a little color and depth there. I don't need to huff it because this is a little moisture ink or stamp. Okay, do you see that little bit of extra color? I think that makes it kind of a little rosy peach. So that's what I've done for my peaches. And you can do the same thing with the little peaches. I ink them up on the ink pad. I grab a little Calypso Coral, throw the sponge dauber, and then I add to the same side of all the peaches. And you say, where are the peaches on this card? Well, what I usually do when I'm creating a card, and this is a Becky original. And there you've got the little peaches. Is I cut out a lot of pieces before I get started. And then I kind of work from there to figure out what it is I'm wanting to actually do with them. Okay, so now we build our card. One of the original cards I saw had their message right here, their sentiment, and it hid a lot of the pretty paper. So I stamped, there's a happy birthday in the stamp set. There's also a thanks so much, and then some fun things like sweet as a peach, have a peachy day, and some little sentiments that go along with it. So I cut this one from one of my dies, one of my favorite little frames that are called ornate frames. They came out a couple of years ago in our holiday catalog, and it was actually with the Halloween things. But I love them because there's so many cute little pieces that are there that you can work with. So I've stamped this in the Pear Pizzazz, cut it out with one of the frames, and you can kind of decide what you want to do when you create your spanner cards. You could put this on top, but I wanted to protect it, so I decided I was going to put that on the bottom. And to do that, our new glue dots, if you've gotten a new container of them, in my opinion, have the dots on the wrong side of the paper. It's really hard to lift them up. So I'm going to put a glue dot on either side. I'm going to lay this straight as I can, centered, and then I'm going to close my span over the top. Okay? It looked when it popped up that was a little crooked, but I think it's straight. Okay, so now the fun part of decorating. So what I did is I cut some big peaches, and I cut some blossoms. Now the blossoms are actually stamped in Calypso Coral, but Calypso Coral is really pretty intense, at least my pad is. It's an older pad. They may be a little, some of the colors are shifting again. And I have a couple of, or a set of 3, because that's how they do, of peaches. And then I have some big peach stems and leaves. And then there's a whole big branch. And it's designed so that the peaches will stamp right in these openings, or the blossoms. I think that's really, really cool. So I have one of these. I actually ended up, because I knew what I was doing, I stamped and cut out, die cut another one so that I could use them with the little peaches. A little tip for me to share with you is people were asking, they said they were stamping some of these stems and some of the, more so the flowers than the peaches. And then when they get ready to cut them out, they didn't match. The reason being is the photopolymer stamps are very movable, very malleable. And if you don't have it on the block right to stamp so it matches the die, they won't match. So the thing you need to do when doing one of these larger stamps, and I don't have the big one over here, is take the Squirrel Patrol. Is just lay it on so it's relaxed and you're not touching it or manipulating it, and put your block on top, and then it should maintain the shape of your die. So that's just kind of a tip. So one of the first things I knew I wanted to do, this is my finished one, is hide the glue dots. I didn't like the glue dots at all, and so that's just one of my fetishes. And so, okay, where'd my glue? Here they are. I've already used them. So I took a couple blossoms because I cut things ahead of time and put them over here to hide my glue dots. Glue dots to hide the glue dots. How clever is that? Okay. All right. Then I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do next. Did I want peaches? Did I want little peaches? And I ended up using the branch. Part of it depends too on what you can see here and how you want it to show. So I put my branch here, and I'm just going to add, you could add glue dots, green glue, but you want to make sure that you're just attaching it. Oh, one of them didn't stick. Attaching it to the back here. Okay. All right. Where's my big glue dot? Still on the roll, but not on the roll, on the strip. Oh, it's on my nail. That's why. Okay. So then I had to decide, did I want the little peaches, which I could. I decided I liked the big peach. So I'm going to take the big peach. I'm going to tuck it kind of under here to create that card. So let's see, I only want half of this. Let's go this half. Half like that. And then you're pretty much finished. But you're not. Now you can do whatever you want. Some people have put rhinestones or whatever on this part. But I'm going to, this is actually my aunt's birthday card. Hi, Marcia. I told you it would be coming. I hope you like this stamp set. I hope you have a peachy day. Her birthday was the 2nd of June. So I'm going to say I hope you have a peachy day in Pear Pizzazz. I'm going to take some, I had all these cute little, and again, it didn't lift. There we go. Cute little peaches left over. Okay. And so this is where my, and it still did not pick up. I guess I need Mini Glue Dot 101 again. I feel for you guys. Okay, and it needs a little stem, so I'm going to cut one off of this. Now there are little stems you can punch out, but you can't stamp and punch. So that's totally up to you. And I'm gonna stick this right there. And voila, you have your spanner card, your bridge span. And it goes here and here. Oh, we're still missing some things. There is a cute little stamp that goes inside, but I like a little bling. And these are our champagne rhinestones. And they're kind of a peachy color. So guess what? They work perfectly. Let's see, that's kind of the smaller one. So let's go with a smaller one. Someone used my pick-me-up tool and I didn't have it handy. Okay, she said. There we go. And it's done. Ta-da! With a few extra pieces. So let me show you a few other things to get your inspiration moving. With spanner cards. Oh, before I do that, I want to show you this awesome paper. Designer paper. Mine is in bits and pieces, so forgive me. You have a blossom with separate leaves, and this is the green that I used on the sides. I've used a lot of this combination pale papaya. There's some big peaches. The die does not actually match this real well, but it's pretty close, and you can then use it to or you can trim by hand, but I think it's much easier. Look at these cute little peaches. And that's on the paper that I used for the center. Let's see. There's also some balmy blue, which makes a nice contrast. And here I've used this on one of the cards. This is actually the blossoms on a stem. And there is a stem die, if you recall. Let's see, this was the stripe. There's another balmy blue that works well with the stripe. And on the back side of it are some peaches as well. I think there's just one more. I can see it here. It has white on the back. Nope, it's a stripe. We have a stripe. It's a cute little, and it coordinates really, really nicely with the blues. So that's the You're a Peach Designer Series paper. Now, it comes in a bundle. This is one of our top 5 selling bundles. I had a manager's call on Monday, and they were telling us some of the biggest sellers. So here are a couple other spanner cards that I have done. This was my first one, and this is the one I copied. I frequently do that first to get an idea of how it all goes together. This uses hand-penned, another very popular and beautiful suite. It has the DSP there, a cutout flower. This is the one that had the white piece at the bottom with the sentiment that I thought was taking away, but that was my opinion. The little scallop is from those dies as well. And then you can see I used a contrasting polka dot there, she did. And then some words, some sentiment from the stamp set. So that was the first one I did. And then it has the genial gems, which are part of this collection. And a little wink of Stella. I have mine close at hand, but I hadn't done it. Kind of make a sweetie peach. And then, yay, the strawberries are back in. So I created one using the DSP from Celebration that came with a Berry Blessings bundle. If you were fortunate enough to get that, I love that paper. We asked and asked and asked to get it back. So I did this one. And on this one, because I have a white piece on the bottom, I did not add another layer. And it had a couple blossoms as well. This is all from the Strawberry Suite, which is now available. Okay, so there's that one. I have a last one that we did in class this week that uses the pansies. And the neat thing about the pansies is these pansies were die cut. And that works really, really well to cut those out and use them on the bridge. Can you see it there reflecting? The bridge on the back. Okay, so for this one I used some of the pansy paper, cut out some pansies and some leaves. You'll have to ask the gals how they liked it. We used the new Evening Evergreen cardstock and put stripes. Here again, I did not layer these because they're on white. So put this inside, a blank stamp directly onto this and had one of our cute little bumblebee trinkets, which are also in. But what I kind of wanted to share with you today is we needed to make sure that the pansies hit the acrylic piece. And somewhere along the line, someone had shared with me a tip using press and seal that might be upstairs in your kitchen. Okay, Glad press and seal. Okay, it's sticky on one side. And so I kind of wanted, I had a partial. So what you do is, I've got my adhesive there, okay? So have you ever put something together and I can never decide, do we want the leaves going in like this? Or do we want them going like this? Totally up to you. There's no right or wrong. So let's say we have this whole thing put together. I meant to keep a few more pieces out. You've made a little arrangement. How do we glue it down now? You know, have you ever picked it up, held everything together, and then tried to reassemble it all? See what's happening? So what this gal suggested, and I forget about it, but it was perfect, is to get a piece of press and seal. After your arrangement is all completed, take the press and seal and push it. See, my one piece is moved. And push it over your pieces. Carefully lift it up. And then you get under there and you attach however over all the overlapping pieces. So for instance, this peach is overlapping here. I'm using glue dots. And let's see, here's another glue dot. Oops. You still have to tear off the tape. I'm going to put one under the stem. Oops, there. And then this little, and you leave it on the press and seal while you adhere everything together. And because the press and seal is forgiving, you can rearrange or reorganize. Okay. And then I looked at it to see where it was going to hit the plastic or the window sheet. You don't want it all over the window sheet, so you put whatever adhesive you like to use in about the width of the you tap it down. And voila, your little arrangement is all together. Isn't that just too cool? And if you need to check the back and make sure everything's attached, you can do that. All right, is that too cool? Tip of the day, so that's what we used to do our little arrangement of pansies. And before I leave you, I wanted to share some other things with this pansy collection. This was the card we did at class this week. It's a double Z fold. And the original design and where to put the different papers from the DSP came from one of my new upline, Christy Redding in California. Hi, Christy. Anyway, so these are the peaches. It's on, I don't know if you can see the teeny tiny peaches. I've used my rhinestones again, a little bit of Wink of Stella, and the directions and everything are over on my blog. Here's another one that I've posted recently. This shows you, and these are cut out, not stamped. So there's the cute little center I was talking about that you could stamp. And this uses one of my other favorite embellishments, the Artistic Bloom sequins that have no openings. There's 5 different colors, and there's just enough iridescence in them that they go with anything. So that was really fun to do. This one is what they're calling, I called it a book card. They're not calling it a book binder card because this kind of has a book binding effect to it. This was all stamped. And so I stamped the stem. You can see how the peaches fit really, really nicely, as do the flowers. I used the balmy blue to do our little flowers. This is some of the words. These dies are from our new Color and Contour collection. They're a little bigger scallop, a little different than the Stitch So Sweetly. And this uses, I hadn't used the two big peach. So that's how that all coordinates together. And the last one is one of my favorites, only because it was a little tricky to figure out. It uses one of the larger dies from the Color and Contour. I cut that from this DSP paper. And then my favorite, another one of my favorite dies is the Ornate Layers. You had to cut a center out of there so that the DSP showed clear through. And then you had to cut another rectangle frame. And I stamped and cut all that out. And we have some cute coordinating new in colors. This is called an open weave ribbon. And then there's that little label die I showed you that's in with the peach dies. So I hope I gave you some inspiration today. I hope you will go out and try a spanner card. My mom has done 3 of them already, so I guess my directions were clear enough that she could get those done. So please have fun, share your creations, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.